One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like a 20-second delay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Hey, Mabes, I'm back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll walk away and I'll come back.
Están trabajando, los houses full y no. Entonces de aquí a 2 semanas va a volver a dejar la nena en la universidad, tú sabes. Tú sabes cómo es con los hijos. Por lo menos es bueno para ella porque se cogen un briquecito de mí. Se coge un briquecito de mí. Te vas a poner. Uno que otro día es bueno para recargar batería.
El nene también. Cuando vayamos a hablar, entonces sí, no lo quitamos.
Esta es la silla customizada.
Wow.
¿Le enseñaste la otra cama?
Yo te la envié. Y el espaldar estaba customizado. Y esa fue la última silla. ¿Esa cuándo fue que salió esa? 23. La silla que estaba customizada.
Ah, sí. Pero esa fue la segunda que encontramos.
No, esta es la última. Esta es la que tiene para el tanque de esto de las máquinas. La última.
En Puerto Rico 2 y aquí 3.
Y eso fue en el campamento. Nosotros metimos 2 veces corrido en el campamento. Está en Campillón.
Te dijeron que eso fue luego de lo que pasó.
Sí, pero cuando él nació,
Y entonces después le dieron. Eso para mí yo me recordaba eso, para mí eso es la verdad.
fue en el 2013 que nos dijeron que ya era hijo. Can I help him? Tú eres la dueña de aquí. Sí,
Muchísimas gracias por eso. Con mucho trabajo.
yo le dije a muchacho que recibió el equipo. Yo le había mencionado a él que mirara a través de los equipos, que hay cosas que usted puede usar para entrenar.
Yeah, if you're talking, if the speaker's right. Then, Marty's gonna be introducing everybody first, so I'll continue with that. Yeah.
No, okay. Hasta que me operen la otra. Sí, por un accidente de trabajo. Cuerpo completo.
Eso es lo que cuenta el gerente que estaba después de ella.
Échaselo.
Ella llevaba dos bizcochos, dos cajas de bizcochos,
You want to move that?
y cuando al parecer que había una caja, y entonces ella salió con los brazos así, pagando los bizcochos, no había. Trataron de levantarlo, de cargar y todo. Fue un rato.
Creo que van a traer el bebé.
Bueno, aunque estoy confundida.
Okay, so, I'm gonna give you though, in 2 minutes, I'll make sure that everybody's up to speed. I'll ask you first.
Ya está caliente. Thank you. So simple. It's been fun to do that on my own.
Creo que ella va a entrar al niño por aquí.
No, no va a quedar. No va a quedar ya. No tenemos espacio. No tenemos suficiente espacio.
Lo podemos balancear.
Este muchacho se mantiene bien. Tiene dos o tres canas.
Hay que mantenerse a la onda.
Para que no digan que yo soy un gold digger, lo que tengo que pintarle eso.
Ya se lo dijeron, ya se lo dijeron.
Sí, me dio complejo.
Se la vamos a quitar.
¿Cómo?
Gold digger.
¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? How are you doing?
Bien cansado el viaje.
Oh, my nephew has muscular, I think it's muscular
Distrofia muscular.
Estaba en un scooter cuando fue de nada. That's one of the things that dice yo diciendo.
Hay que caminar una milla para entender.
Sí. Yo diría. Él tiene ahora 22 años. 22 años.
There's no
Está,
space.
está viviendo todavía.
Y allá que va a sacar, ¿no?
We need more ASI people here. There's nobody here. to
Sí,
really
eso
tell
te iba a
us
decir.
to do anything.
Trae
There's no one to
empleados.
tell here to tell him to do anything. It's always gonna happen. Here has to go up. It's more than enough. But I mean, we need Evan, we need Dominic, we need somebody in the room. He cannot be gone. cannot be gone, please. Por favor. All right. I think after they set, we're gonna go. I think we needed, they were looking for, having trouble with parking. Yes, well, you blame him for everything? Okay. Bienvenidos. Hola. ¿Cómo están ustedes? We will be speaking in English and in Spanish. English and then in Spanish. Yes, Spanish. Yes, por favor. Ustedes pueden hablar en inglés y después en español. ¿Están bien? ¿Están bien? It's a celebrity, a celebrity. Yes, we have flowers. They're for you. Gran juez. Yes, sí. Gracias. Gracias.
Nos ayudó a recolectar cosas para Puerto Rico.
Ah. For the sun camp. We have everyone here. They were just in another room. Action. La familia. Okay, take it down. Sí, creo que va para ahí. Oh, no solamente los padres.
Son lo que sucede. Bueno.
La familia, pues, ustedes pueden- Tengo que abrazar. I gotcha. I got you. I'm with you. Thank you for joining us. My name is Marta Cerda. I'm the CEO of ASI and Any Healthcare. Thank you for being with us here today. Welcome to ASI. Bienvenidos a ASI. We here at ASI provide home care, home health, telehealth. We're a vaccination site for COVID-19. We help people at home be vaccinated, the hardest to vaccinate. And in general, we do everything possible so you can age well and recover well in your own homes, the safest place for care, especially now during this COVID-19 pandemic, as we have seen. Safe care is in your home. All of this care is provided from our hearts and our souls. Our employees, 320 plus, live in the community. We're predominantly Latino and African-American, and we give to our community, care outward. Now, what does all of this care in one place mean? Well, my dad, David Cerda, is 94, and he was stressed, trying to take care of himself, trying to do his own grocery shopping and cooking. And now he has a nurse who comes in to his home, checks his vitals, his blood pressure, make sure he's okay. And our Latino for him, home care aides, he's Mexican, take care of his cooking, his cleaning, his heavy lifting, and they even take him to his physician's appointments and doctors. I know I went to a doctor's appointment and there was his home care aide by his side. Huge relief for me to know that my dad can age well and live in his own home rather than having to leave and go to another nursing home, especially getting care in Spanish in his own home. As you know, our minority communities' needs are high to achieve health equity and economic prosperity. And so ASI is in the middle of a major capital campaign to build a new facility to raise $8 million to expand our services and programs, to add more. And actually, Anna has a photo of a rendering of our new facility. So we can give more care beyond our home care and home health to add back into our agency employment and training resources to help thousands of people who've become unemployed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This facility, we hope, will be built in 2022. We received a recent donation grant from Senator Durbin, was just approved by Senator Durbin for $1 million for a new facility. So it's important for us to care for others and that our home care aides have a facility that cares for them and the community can come in and receive more care from ASI. So we are committed to lifting up our Latino and African-American communities and Asian communities to help have better access to healthcare and to employment and training resources. But most importantly for today, ASI is really committed to ensuring that people with disabilities remain as independent as possible. Disabilities, particularly when they strike a child, can be devastating financially, emotionally, physically, and in every way. That's why today is so important. My nephew actually suffers from Duchenne muscular dystrophy. He's terminally ill. So we understand the value of a Hoyer lift to lift him up so his mother and father don't hurt their backs. The value of an electric wheelchair so he can get to where he needs to go. And the value of the car seats and everything that you're going to be seeing and hearing about being donated from a very, very generous family. We understand this pain. And today reminds us how important it is to turn personal tragedy, as has been suffered by the Pantojas family, to turn it into good for others, to give to others, to help to lift them up as well, and for them to have what they need. So when we received the call from Illinois Appellate Court Justice Jesse Reyes, that there was a need for help with giving these valuable medical devices and supplies to other families here in Chicago, we said, of course, sí, inmediatamente, of course. We give and care for others. So the call to give was one that we were grateful to receive. And Jesse, we did want to note, is a leader not only in our Latino communities, but our legal communities and in the entire city of Chicago with his giving. So thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Justice. So we are working to help to make the life of Dylan, who passed away and whose birthday we celebrate today, so that all of the equipment and supplies that he received in his lifetime, that we get to give many of those out to other families here in our Chicago communities. And we'll be hearing more about Dylan in a moment. And we are very grateful to the Pantojas family. They've traveled actually now twice from San Antonio. They actually drove a U-Haul and I saw them arrive from a long drive here to bring a U-Haul full of equipment, huge amount of equipment here. So we thank you for that. And so you're going to be speaking now with Itza Adrian Pantojas, their attorney, Pedro Solar, who flew in from Puerto Rico, and also the Clifford family, Aaron Clifford, and the law firm that was speaking to you about the work that they did to obtain the resources to have this equipment. And of course, with our family that's receiving this equipment. We'll be speaking to you also in a moment. But again, this is an emotional time for us. We're grateful to be a part of this process. But really now I want to welcome Itza Pantoja, the mother of Dylan, to talk to you about their journey with their beautiful son, Dylan. I'll bring this over. Okay, okay, sorry.
Hi, everyone. I don't think I need a microphone. I usually talk very loud, so my apologies. First of all, I want to thank everyone that's here sharing this moment to the world. When I see all of you, I don't see news or cameras or people, taking our story to share it. I see angels that carry information that is unknown to people in the world of how they can get help from families like us or agency like ASI. A little bit about ASI and the inspiration that they gave me when I arrived and I found out what they do for people, individuals with disability. It's amazing. I, for one, know how hard it is to take care of my son with no help whatsoever, barely sleeping. And then when I arrived in the States, receiving help like ASI is offering was amazing because I was struggling to give my son quality of life. I was exhausted. And once I started to receive help from other individuals that are trained, like respite and nurses, it gave us more time with our son. It gave us time to sleep, and it gave us a lot more time of fun. So to tell you now a little bit about Dylan, Dylan was born like any other child with a moderate hydrocephalus and pulmonary stenosis. When he was born, they told us he was only going to live about a week if we had the blessing of him living that long. Then a year later, he, due to a medical malpractice, he became totally disabled, and they told us he was only going to live 6 months. We struggled for that because if he was going to live however long God intended him to live, we wanted to give him quality of life. And we wanted him to enjoy life as any child can, even though it was difficult because he couldn't move. He needed a lot of equipment and help to do so. In 2013, the doctors back home in Puerto Rico told us they couldn't do anything else for him, to expect the worst at any moment. As a mother, I couldn't take that information. I couldn't accept it because of the many times they told us he was going to die, and he didn't. So you hold on to that hope. And that's when we traveled to San Antonio, Texas. And thank God, a couple more years, and he passed away in 2019. His organs gave out. I would say they were exhausted from all his medical conditions. But throughout his life, he was happy. We made sure that he enjoyed life like any other child could. If you look to your left, my right, this is one of the pictures. This is one of the pictures, the last pictures we took back home in 2013 as we were heading out to San Antonio, Texas, looking for quality of life for him. It wasn't about him living longer. It was about him just living. I forgot to take my mask off. Oops. He was also mischievous, like any child at his age. He was about 14 in this picture. And at that precise moment, he was writing a letter to Santa. He believed in Santa till the day he died. And I asked him, what are you asking Santa? What are you asking Santa to buy you? He just smiled like, what I'm not supposed to ask for. And I still have his drawing, writing, of course, that's his way of writing. This is part of our community where we live, where we took him outside almost every day that we could so that he can walk his dog. Yes, he had a dog, not a medical service dog or anything like that, just a pet that gave him comfort. And if those of you have pets, you know how valuable pets are. They're like family. Now, this picture, if you can turn it sideways, they could actually see how he was when I took it. Horizontal. The other way. This only represents every day that his nurse walked into the door and his caregiver, because he knew he was going to go outside to play or play tennis. Somehow he always won at tennis. But it shows how important it is for that everyone to know that life is going on, but there are still people out there like Dylan, like Felipe here, that need help, need extra help than common. This was one of his birthdays. He just wanted to go to Dave and Buster's. He kept saying yes with his eyes because his brother told him to say yes. Here we are as a family. The young man behind me is his brother. He is autistic, and we're still in the fight for him to be independent. So far, he's staying at home because dad cooks really good. This is, we love Halloween. So you will see another couple of pictures like this. Our Halloween was the day that Dylan was Dylan. He could be anything he wanted. In this picture, he decided to be a hippie bike rider. And that's just us showing the love we have for him. Dylan being Dylan. That's the little mischievous smile he always gave. And you knew he was up to something. This Halloween, he wanted to fly. I don't know who got that idea into his brain, but we had to make a costume for him to fly. Dad was Snoopy. This is one of the last Halloweens that he celebrated. He wanted to be like his one of his older brothers, who is actually serving in the armed forces in the army. And he wanted to be a soldier. So the only idea that we got was to make a tank and for him to be some kind of toy soldier. He enjoyed it every time. The people surrounding were nurses that from San Rafael Health Agency that helped us take care of Dylan. Obviously, Dylan is in the middle. And why his brothers are laughing. The brother that's smiling, he's the one in the army. The one who is laughing out loud, he's the autistic one. And they're smiling because Dylan is making pretend he's asleep. Every time I said I was going to take a picture, he would close his eyes and make pretend he was asleep. Now, I would like to mention to this side, all these boxes that we have here are medical supplies. When you have a child like Dylan, you need a lot of medical supplies to keep him alive, to give him the quality of life that he needs. Yes, we did receive some help from the government, but as you all know, it's based on income and what you earn and what you can get. And the rest, we just had to make do, find a way to buy it. Being a pastry chef that I am, what I did was dedicate my time to take care of Dylan at home and make cookies and cupcakes to sell so that I can buy most of the things that you see here. There are a lot more in the storage. To my left side, those are medical equipments. We have a positioning bed. We have there a car seat, a Hoyer, and a standing frame. Those are part of things that children or adults like Dylan need just to have a normal life. There are equipments that very expensive. I'm going to have Dad demonstrate one so that the idea that you can get the idea of how important it is. And it's just to show you how it works. El otro no. So this is a sit to stand and a supine to stand stander. How it works is we have to pump it up, like if it was I don't know how to say it, but we have to pump it up in order for him to, from sitting position to stand, or from lying position. We would put him on there sitting, or we would put him on there standing. It would depend on how Dylan was feeling that day. And then we would pump it up all the way until he would stand up. Si le da a la manubrio para que se pare. Completo, para que se pare completo. With him on it, we had to do that very slowly, and we would stand him as far as he could stand. For those of you that may have suffered some type of back injury, you know how important it is to stand so that your muscles and your skeleton get stronger. This is the way we had to do it for Dylan. He couldn't do it by himself, but yet he needed it. This is one of the examples and equipments that the government did not help, and we had to pay around $47,000 for it. So you can imagine how many cookies and cupcakes I had to sell in order to be able to buy this for my son. And it was all comfort, but it's necessity as well. And I would take a quick moment to say thank you to Pedro especially. He has, well, I met him very strangely over the phone, searching for a lawyer. I didn't know what to do. And he is now our dear friend. But if it wasn't for him, Dylan wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for him, we would have never explained or won that case that we sued against for the malpractice. But even though we won it, that money never returned our son to how he was. It did provide some things. It did provide some things that he needed, but it doesn't return. Things that did help Dylan are equipments and materials like this, but it was a help. So thank you, Pedro, for all your help and dedication to us and the family. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Erin Clifford, and I'm a partner at Clifford Law Offices. It's a firm in Chicago that has represented many families who have suffered the pain and sorrow of those who have lost loved ones or who have been injured because of the wrongful conduct of others. Clifford Law Offices does not represent the families here in any way. We just wanted to do something nice, helping a family in San Antonio who lost their loving son and who wanted to give back to a community in need. As you all know, Chicago is really a community in need. And the Aguilars are a family in need of this wonderful metal equipment that the Pantojas are so graciously donating to others, trying to help make their lives a little bit better. I think we all heard how much it means to have this very precious equipment. We would also like to thank Devices for the Disabled for their help in getting the equipment to the Aguilars, and another nonprofit corporation, the Center for Independence, through conductive research, especially Executive Director Patricia Herbst for the help in making this all happen. I'd now like to turn the microphone over to Karina. It took a whole village to really make all of this happen, and Clifford Law Offices was so happy that we were able to help and be a part of it. So this is Karina Aguilar, the mom of Felipe, who is here to tell you all about their lives in Chicago.
Good afternoon. I want to begin by saying that there are no words that come to mind that I think could possible comfort the heart of a grieving mother. The fear of losing a child is never ending, so I cannot imagine the pain that you have been in. It's often difficult to know the right words to say, but I believe in God's mercy and in the power of prayer. So mother to mother, know that your family and your angel in heaven will always be in mind. My name is Karina Aguilar. This is Cuauhtemoc, my husband, Felipe, and my family is there. Yes, Felipe is my dad, Felipe's grandpa, Alejandra, Victoria, Rebecca, the sisters, and Alejandra help us with the care of Felipe. My son Felipe he's 11 years old. He was born with cerebral palsy. He's a sweet, lovable, and intelligent young boy. He's bilingual and loves absorbing and learning from everything that goes around him. From the minute he was born, we could tell that he was going to bring light in our lives. Regardless of the hard road we knew would also be upon us. Felipe's disability means that for him to be as independent as he possibly can, he'll need good and proper equipment, both to help in his conductive therapy and to get around in life. And it's sad you have to show us where we have to go every day. Things like walkers, standards, power chairs, special beds, all of which are necessary for Felipe's life, don't come with a small price tag. Insurance only goes so far in helping, so we are forced to depend on public aid, which is a battle in and of itself. We have often found ourselves in long bureaucratic clashes of back and forth emails, paperwork, and miscommunication, and an attempt to convince them that these indispensable medical necessities are in fact indispensable medical necessities, only to end up with a fraction of what actually Felipe needed. As a mother, you wish you could give your child everything they need as soon as it's needed. But to have to beg over and over for help is exhausting and frustrating. This is why the generous donation from the Pantojas family has given to us so much. It is much more than just something to help Felipe's life be a little easier. It is a show of kindness and solidarity from a family mourning the loss of their own little one. driving out to Chicago 2 times and giving up all this equipment to help other needy families like ours is a most selfless sacrifice. On behalf of Felipe, my husband, and my entire family, we thank the Pantoja family from the bottom of our heart. After a year filled with loss and isolation, to receive this act of generosity is something we will never forget. I know your little Dylan is looking down from heaven, smiling on all of us on his birthday today. May God bless you always. Thank you very much.
Anything else you'd like to say?
Sí. Estamos muy agradecidos y no se encuentran palabras para poder mitigar el dolor de una madre en su pérdida. Solo nos aferramos a la fe, pero en este momento, muchas gracias porque honrando la memoria del pequeño Dylan, podemos hacer conciencia, no solo a unas pocas personas, sino podemos alcanzar a mucha gente a darse cuenta de que la discapacidad es difícil, pero todos juntos podemos salir adelante. Queremos hacer conciencia de que todas las leyes deberían de estarse ajustando para que los niños como Felipe puedan tener la oportunidad que tienen los niños con un neurotípico desarrollo, ¿verdad? Y sinceramente, cuando escuché la historia de la familia de Dylan, de Itza, no podía imaginar por el duelo que deben estar pasando y me siento muy honrada de poder ser parte de este momento. Muchas gracias de parte de mí, de mi familia. Gracias otra vez. No tengo palabras. Gracias.
Like to step up and just say a couple of words. Since you're a volunteer. Betsy Reyes of the Illinois Appellate Court.
Thank you. My name is Jesse Reyes. As Martha mentioned during her remarks, I'm a justice on the Illinois Appellate Court, First District here in Cook County in Chicago. But today I'm here as a member of the community at large. And as Aaron Clifford mentioned, it took a village. It took a village today to get us all together and to be able to help out the Aguilar family. I received a call from Pedro Soler and the Clifford Law Offices about the Pantojos' generosity. Shortly after their son Dylan passed, they thought, how can we help others? How can we help someone similarly situated as Dylan? And so they reached out, and when I received the phone call, I said, well, I know of some organizations that might be able to take the equipment and help out others within the community. And that's how we got together with ASI, and also were able to help out the Aguilar family. It's a pleasure to be here. And I am saddened that I never got the opportunity to meet Dylan. He seemed like a great young man, full of life and energy. It's a deep sorrow that we're accepting these equipments to help out other families. But at the same time, it's a good moment. It's a great moment because we're able to help out somebody else like the Aguilars. So again, I want to thank the Pantojas very much for their generosity, and ASI also for making this happen, and Clifford Law Offices and my good friend Pedro Solar. This is not the first time that we've worked together. When Puerto Rico was devastated by the hurricane, Pedro, who's a practicing lawyer in Puerto Rico, reached out to me, and Pedro, and the Clifford Law Offices were able to lend some support and assistance through fundraising events to help out those people that were disadvantaged by the hurricane. So I look forward to our continued participation and continue working together to help out the community at large. Thank you very much. Oh, en español. Oh, en español. Yo soy un juez en la Corte de Apelación aquí en Illinois, pero estoy aquí como un miembro de la comunidad. Yo quería ayudar a nuestras familias aquí en nuestra comunidad y cuando oí de la generación de los Pantojas que querían dar el equipo que tenemos aquí hoy, yo ya hablé con Marta Cerda de ASI y hallamos una familia que necesitaba este equipo y por eso estoy aquí hoy. No estoy aquí hoy como juez, pero estoy aquí como un miembro de la comunidad que nomás quiere ayudarle a otros. Muchas gracias.
Good afternoon. My name is Pedro Soler, and for about 26 years, I have been representing children in cases such as Dylan. And there is no bigger satisfaction than to receive a phone call or a text message or an email from those who have been your clients in your birthday, Christmas, New Year's Eve. And for the last 18 years, we have been friends. I represented them in a medical malpractice case about 17 years ago. We did very well. It helped them, it helped Dylan, all the family members, and they were able to keep Dylan alive. Now we know that Dylan was really an angel. And these two guys here are the heroes of the movie. Not only did they keep Dylan alive and well and living happy for so long, but now they are giving up again to other people like this family and Felipe right here, who's a recipient of medical equipment. My friends here, he's smiling. My friends here drove a truck full of equipment, hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical equipment, and they just gave it away. There is no bigger showing of love and compassion than what they are doing here right now. Justice, thank you so very much for being here, arranging this. Thank you for the help you lent us after Hurricane Maria. It was very well received. We thank you so very much. Erin, thank you for working with us, Clifford Law, who's our friend here in Chicago and will always be. I thank you so very much, members of the press, of being here. Thank you, Ms. Cerda, ASI, for making this possible. And as much as we can, we will continue to help you. Thank you. En español. Nadie sabe lo que pasan padres como estos, excepto ellos mismos, en una condición con un niño con las condiciones que ellos tienen. Todo padre piensa que va a tener un hijo saludable y que va a crecer, que va a tener una vida normal, que va a la universidad y que va a trabajar y que va a tener una familia. Pero por eso es que yo me encanta representar a familias con niños con estos problemas. ¿Por qué? Porque esos niños nunca tuvieron una oportunidad. They never had the chance. Y por eso es mi satisfacción ayudar a estos niños y a estas familias que nunca tuvieron esa oportunidad a darles una segunda oportunidad. Siempre he estado aquí para esas familias. Es mi satisfacción representarlos en todo momento y siempre les pido, permítame ser su voz, permítame ayudarle en lo máximo posible. No están solos, especialmente los latinos, los hispanos aquí en Chicago, de todo tipo de color, raza, no están solos. Permítanos ser su voz. Muchas gracias.
I don't know if you wanted to say a few words in Spanish, because I don't know if you're the or are you fine?
Sure. Yeah. In Spanish. Buenas tardes a todos, mi nombre es Itza y estoy aquí haciendo una donación de equipos y materiales a familias en necesidad con niños y adultos que tienen impedimentos físicos, mentales. Estamos aquí en honor a nuestro hijo Dylan, quien falleció hace 2 años y tenía múltiples impedimentos dado a un impericia médica, y gracias al señor Pedro Soler pudimos ganar esa batalla y darle a nuestro hijo una calidad de vida. Representando a nuestro hijo, donamos estos equipos para niños como Felipe y su familia para facilitarle la vida a ellos y que ellos puedan tener una calidad de vida como ellos se lo merecen. En fin, and to end, I would like to say heavenly birthday to my son Dylan. En fin, a mi hijo me gustaría decirle feliz cumpleaños en el cielo. Dylan, te amamos. We love you.
Hablaba sobre los problemas que tienen familias como la tuya, a quienes el gobierno prácticamente los ha abandonado sin ningún tipo de ayuda económica para comprar insumos tan caros como eso. ¿Podrías explicarlo en español? ¿Qué tan grave es la situación cuando se llega al punto en el que no hay dinero para comer y hay que decidir entre pagar el alquiler o comprar los equipos?
Sí, en realidad cuando hablamos de una discapacidad, inclusive algún equipo o algún producto que se puede usar típicamente teniendo el label, teniendo la etiqueta de que es para necesidades especiales o para discapacidad, el precio se triplifica o se cuadriplica. Me hizo recordar una vez que queríamos comprar unas cucharas especiales para que Felipe pudiera accesar a su comida con más facilidad. Cuando buscaba las cucharas solo como unas cucharas con una curvatura especial, costaba apenas un par de dólares, pero ya cuando le ponías, es para un niño con necesidades especiales, la cuchara costaba casi $80. Era exagerado. Y sí, desafortunadamente yo no sé hacer galletas ni pastelitos para vender. Algunas veces sí hay que, nos privamos más bien, nos tenemos que privar de equipo que él necesita, que le beneficiaría para prevenir algunas otras problemas médicos en el futuro, y solamente tenemos que ser creativos y buscar la manera de posicionarlo sin lastimarlo.
Pero cuando le pides la ayuda al gobierno o a cualquier médico, ¿qué te dice?
Bueno, es muy difícil. Se tiene que hacer unas muy bonitas cartas de justificación de una necesidad médica. A veces los seguros están más, es más fácil que ellos cubran una cirugía de cadera que es costosísima a una silla posicional que le puede ayudar a él a mantener sus caderas en una posición adecuada, a poner peso en sus articulaciones para crecer con sus huesitos fuertes, porque ellos piensan que no es necesario, no es para él. Inclusive en algunas ocasiones llegué a escuchar cosas como, para nuestros niños con una discapacidad física, ponerse de pie o caminar es solo recreativo. Y bueno, sí nos hemos encontrado con mucha discriminación y falta de conciencia, pero pienso que también es la ignorancia. Yo pienso que es importante que todos nos demos cuenta de que nuestros niños tienen esta condición y lo único que estamos buscando es sí la aceptación, y yo pienso que de esa manera también se abren puertas. Muchas gracias. Wow,
¿Quieres que yo lo diga?
bueno, sí.
Okay.
Ella me
I'll
va a
say it
ayudar
in
con la
English for her.
interpretación.
Answering to your question that you made to Karina. Sorry, you learn to live with it and you can't take it off. The government itself, it doesn't matter what program you're in. The first thing that they usually look at is, do you work? Can you work? What can you do to make income? And if you can do something, they'll just back it off as you can pay for it. But they don't take in consideration that we have to pay a house, we have to pay utilities, that we have to eat, that we have to pay medical bills because not all the specialists are covered by the government. And they forget of the necessity, like she mentioned. If it would be an example of this standing frame, when I asked for it, they told me, just like they told her, it's a luxury, not a necessity. But we're not looking for luxury. We're looking for his bones to get stronger. That way his organs are not affected. See, when your spinal cord gets strong, your ribs are stronger and they protect your organs. But when they're weak, they could damage your organs even more. Your organs will flatten if you're not able to be turned ever so often, and a person then will suffer more. And that what we call quality of life is more suffering of life, because it takes one person to walk a mile in order for them to understand what we're going through as parents. Thank you. I was nervous. I was very nervous because when I saw Felipe in his chair, a typical chair like that was the first chair I bought Dylan in Puerto Rico. In his total life, Dylan had about 7 wheelchairs, and only 2 of them were covered by the government. The rest we had to pay out of pocket. Examples like this is not a reclining chair. This is more a chair to go out to the pool. Chairs that would help position him, or when he needs a diaper change and we can't just put him in the floor to change his diaper, get more contamination. Chairs that would incline would help us change. And that's what we, put out of our pocket to cover for that. So when I saw him, I felt like my son was giving me a hug of doing something extraordinary. Most people will just like, I'm not going to find anyone who's going to take benefit of this, and just throw things away. They have no idea that there are so many people in need. But when I saw them, I felt like my son was hugging me. And I retracted so many years of what I went through. And I know other people are going through. Any more questions? We just met today, but after today, I know that a beautiful friendship will develop, because basically she's just starting this journey. And I have been walking her miles for some time. I know maybe a little more information or organizations that she could go to get help or anything. And as simple as just babysitting him. Because there's one thing that people forget. They're parents, they're humans. They also need to go out and breathe to make them stronger to take care of Felipe.
Yeah, thank you very much. We just met, and it's like we know each other for long, but it's true. Our journey is starting. We can carry Felipe in our arms still, very light. And as she mentioned, this chair is not a proper chair for a child with a physical disability. He's not comfortable, as you just noticed. It's just for a quick come out and in. I'm so glad that I meet you. Thank you so much. And I know Dylan is smiling.
Thank you,
Smiling.
Marta.
No, Marta, una pregunta para Marta, porque esta situación, Marta, es una situación excepcional. ¿Pudiera decir cuánta otra gente con la situación de la familia de Karina, de la familia de Felipe, y ¿Cuál es la situación de ellos? ¿Qué pasa con la gente que no recibe ayuda a través de donaciones?
Okay, I'm going to answer first in English and then Anna's going to help me in Spanish. So we do understand that there are other agencies that rejected the opportunity to accept the equipment and all of this. It is a lot. It's a lot. It's in our storage. It's here. It's everywhere. So they are correct that a lot of people reject it. They throw it away. They don't know how to distribute it, and it's overwhelming. But when you have an agency that is all about giving, that we will go the extra mile, like, yes. Yes. Oh, yes. No. Mhm. It's many. Right, they don't, yes, because again, it's difficult to accept the donation, so it's difficult to, so some of the families then go without. We happen to have at ASI an insurance navigator that can help families figure out this complicated insurance process and help them to get equipment. So we are here to help people to do that. But there are other, like, I think Catholic Charities was here also. There are certain agencies that we can help you to find to help to get this equipment, but you are correct. There are many families that go without this equipment, without a Hoyer lift. We actually, as soon as we got, to give you an example, as soon as we got the call about this equipment, we already had families that were taking it before it arrived, before they came from Texas. The beds were gone, the chairs were gone, the Hoyer lift, we were going to use that Hoyer lift for our training, but it's going out. That's how important it is for others. It couldn't even touch us before it was already going elsewhere. So you're correct. The need is great. And Chicago is a generous city, but more needs to be done. Possibly changes in legislation and other things. I know there's an expansion of Medicaid to help other families to be able to afford this equipment, because they are going without right now, without hospital beds, without Hoyer lifts, without wheelchairs. They're going without right now in our Latino and African American communities.
Buenas tardes. ¿Me puede hacer la pregunta otra vez? Ajá.
Primero, preséntate, por favor, para nosotros. La pregunta es la misma que tenemos Marta, es ¿qué sucede con las familias que no tienen la suerte de recibir donaciones? Tenemos un número, ¿sabemos cuántas situación?
Bueno, mi nombre es Ana Álvarez. Yo soy Operations Manager de la agencia. La agencia de ASI nos dedicamos a estos tipos de servicios. Por ejemplo, tenemos una representante aquí que tiene oficina aquí mismo para las personas que están pasando por situaciones así, para que los pueda ayudar a caminar por el proceso para poder obtener el tipo de servicio que es necesario. Los equipos, ella habla personalmente, hace la entrevista con la familia. Le hace la cita que vengan a hablar con ella, y cuando está con la familia, ella ahí mismo le hace llama a las agencias para poder ayudar ahí mismo en esa misma situación. También todos aquí tenemos el número de nuestra agencia, 1-800 Home Care. Llaman a ese número, nosotros le podemos dar la asistencia que necesitan. Podemos ayudar a encontrar el tipo de servicio que se necesita. La agencia de nosotros proveemos servicios en el hogar para personas discapacitadas y para poder ayudarlos en casa, en el hogar, para poder ser más independientes. Le damos
servicios para que la familia, los padres puedan salir porque están todo el tiempo con su hijo en casa y no tienen la oportunidad de ni salir para almorzar. Nosotros le damos ese tipo de servicio, pero si necesitan otros servicios como esta familia necesita, podemos ayudar a conseguirle cómo facilitar eso para ellos.
Oh, he's got to go. Pero la necesidad es grande, grandísima. Necesitamos más cambios, más cambios. Vamos a ver, no sabemos ahora, pero vamos a ver. Sí, podemos dar esa información. Darle. Other questions? We're gonna help Felipe get a break. Gracias, Felipe. Yay. Other questions, other questions. Oh, por favor, gracias.
Sí, hola. Me gustaría enfatizar en su pregunta nuevamente. Do you all need to say it in English now? Yes, no? Okay. Okay. Oh, yes, sorry. Okay. Thank you.
Por toda esta buena onda que tienen ustedes, el gran trabajo que han hecho, han ayudado a una familia, pero estamos hablando de una familia. A mí me da la impresión de que hay muchísimas otras familias que no tienen la suerte que tiene la familia de Felipe.
Sí.
Y me gustaría que hablaras un poquito de eso, porque evidentemente ustedes estuvieron en esta situación.
Pues mira, yo soy bien curiosa y yo hice una investigación. Por cada 2 o 3 niños normales que nacen sin condiciones, hay 2 que tienen condiciones, algún tipo de condición. ¿Qué pasa con esos niños que tienen la condición y no saben cómo conseguir equipos o no saben qué hacer, vender galletitas o cupcakes o stuff, algo así? Yo le voy a decir, como a mí me lo dijeron una vez, viven el tiempo que pueden, empeoran y mueren. Es lo único, no hay más nada. ¿Por qué no saben? Porque nadie le ha podido llevar la información. Es falta de conocimiento, es falta de poder brindar la educación a los padres de donde hay ayuda para ellos. Pero también no es donde hay ayuda, es si cualifican. Porque todo tiene que ser evaluado por mucha gente, por qué lo necesita, cuánto cuesta, dónde lo podemos buscar menos costoso y si eso lo va a ayudar a mejorar de alguna forma. Por ejemplo, este equipo, cuando yo lo compré, me indicaron, tu hijo no va a caminar nunca, ¿para qué lo quieres? Bueno, hay 20,000 formas que un equipo puede ayudar a una persona y no es simplemente para poder caminar.
Háblame de la bronca que da del abandono de nuestro gobierno. Aquí tenemos la nuestra. Da la impresión de que nuestras familias, sobre todo nuestras familias latinoamericanas, cuando tienen situaciones como las de ustedes, quedan totalmente abandonados.
Bueno, no tengo estadísticas para poder afirmar a lo que usted dice, pero sí tengo conocimiento de muchas familias que pasan lo mismo que pasamos nosotros. Vuelve y sobrecae sobre el conocimiento y la información. La información es bien importante y por eso ustedes están todos aquí para compartir esa información de que sí hay ayuda. Hay ayudas como el licenciado Soler, cuando su hijo se lastima imperídicamente, o hay ayuda de agencias como ASI para que los padres puedan respirar y tener ayuda a cuidar a su hijo. Lo que pasa es que no todo el mundo sabe a dónde ir. Y padres como nosotros nos cohibimos, porque si salimos afuera y nuestro hijo se enferma, se muere más rápido. Nos quedamos en el hogar donde no tenemos esa información traída a nosotros, ya sea por la oficina del pediatra o la oficina de algún especialista. muchos de ellos saben, pero no comparten la información y lo que dicen es, no me preguntaron, eso no lo tuve que decir. Now, do y'all need me to say that in English?
Children who don't get this equipment will die. They will die, or they don't have as much time. I just thought it was moving that Itza was saying that there are families out there who cannot access this equipment. And what happened to them, she was explaining, is that their condition worsens because they're not in the right position. They're not moved correctly. And they get worse and worse and they die earlier. And that's true, as her son was predicted to only live 6 months. And that's the result of not having this equipment. It's early death. And I have to say, a lot of suffering. So that's why getting this equipment, and I was saying earlier that some agencies reject even taking it because it is a lot to handle. And then others just aren't able to access it. As she was saying, you have to prove that you have to have that equipment. Those hurdles should not exist for children with disabilities in the city of Chicago or the state of Illinois or in this country. So there are legislative changes that need to be made, and changes in general so that children with these disabilities can live a better quality of life and that they don't have to die because they don't have the equipment or access to this equipment. And that's happening again all over the city, because as soon as we got the donation, it was, before it arrived, it was gone. It was gone. That's how much of a need there is. So we are so grateful for you to be here with us at ASI to get this message out that children with disabilities need special equipment, and families with this generosity came all the way from Texas to help our families in Chicago to be able to access this equipment so they can have a better quality of life and so that they could live longer. And that's what today is really about, and his soul and his spirit.
I'm sorry, I'm going to do this sitting. My knees are killing me. You might be asking the question, oh, thank you. I keep forgetting. You might be asking the question, why did we travel from San Antonio, Texas to here, to Chicago? Oh, okay. Okay. Before we were blessed with this company to bring the equipment, I searched high and low within Texas for different companies that could receive it. Most of these companies are full of equipment, but the family don't know it. Most of these companies do receive them and do give it out, and they're waiting for people to give these equipment out. But it all comes down to the family knowing that there are companies out there that can give them used equipments. Equipments, they don't have expiration dates unless it's supplies. Supplies do, but equipments don't. And they can be used. And then you can pass it forward to another person. But if they don't know, they don't know. But there are some companies that still the parent has to prove why they need the equipment. There are a lot of doctors out there that say, yes, you know, what the parent says is true. They need that equipment, but it goes through so many hands. It's like that message game where you tell one person and the person tells the other and so on and so forth. And then the message never gets to where it needs to get, how it has to get. That's how our life is. Yeah. First, my first option was to donate it in Texas because that's where we lived. The companies that I found that received respiratory supplies or supplies like these, other companies that just received equipments, medical equipments like those, their stocks were full. And they were full because parents like Felipe's family don't know about it, or families like me. I didn't know about these companies until my son died because I started looking into it. Where can I take it? Yes.
¿En español o en inglés? English. Itza called me, how long ago? About a year ago. And well, of course, I got to know that Dylan had passed. And a couple months after, she called me and she said, I have this garage full of medical equipment and supplies. Uh, no one will take it. And I'm going like, why? So I just start thinking. I'm in Puerto Rico. I have a practice in Puerto Rico, but I also practice law here in Chicago. So first idea was to send the equipment to Puerto Rico, but at the time it was like COVID peak time. Transportation was just impossible. Everything was very, very, very difficult. So my second idea was then, well, I practice in Chicago. I know I have many good friends here in Chicago. I have the Clifford Law Office in Chicago, Justice Reyes here. And so I said, well, let's just take it to Chicago. And that's what we did. And at first I thought that we were going to hire a truck service. These guys jumped into a U-Haul and brought it up by themselves. So that's the reason why we needed to find an output for this equipment. It could not just sit there and rot. There's a lot of children in need, and we just did it right away. Today, celebrating Dylan's 18th birthday.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.